In the shadow of the Olympics, the issue of school sport is suddenly thrust onto the public agenda. Australian Olympic Committee President John Coates says the key to improved high-level performance is to make sport compulsory at schools.
We've got to make sure we've got a talent pool. We are 1/3 of the population of Britain, 1/4 of Germany, 1/3 of France, our principal competitors, and we've got to have a system that's going to have a lot of kids there. Some may want to go on, some for whom it's going to be good in terms of health and general fitness, but out of it we've got to be looking for the next Cathy Freeman and the next Ian Thorpe.
British Prime Minister David Cameron disagrees fundamentally. He says compulsory sport will not enhance high-level competition, but a greater emphasis on competitive sport just might.
So if we want to have a great sporting legacy for our children, and I do, I've got an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I want them to play competitive sport, and they want to play competitive sport, we've got to have an answer that brings the whole of society together to crack this. More competition, more competitiveness, more getting rid of the idea of all must win prizes and you can't have competitive sports day.
One more goal kicking drill.
As school sports become something of a political football, experts say it can enhance elite competition.
You can go back to the really rudimental, fundamental studies. People from countries that are never exposed to a bike, well then they don't have a bicycle. They never know how to ride a bike or how to use a bike. If you're never exposed to playing water polo, you'll never take up that sport or understand that sport. So there's quite a bit of evidence out there that says if you're naturally introduced to it, and particularly at the adolescent age, you're more flexible, supple, and you can pick up those skills more readily than if you take it later on in life.
Professor Burkett also agrees with David Cameron that an emphasis on competitive sport is important.
Sport definitely has a competitive nature, but if it's only on a competitive sense, the stronger just get stronger. Whereas if you make it more compulsory, I think that dilutes the competitive nature and makes it more just a participation nature. Now, people will argue against that, but I think if you just make it compulsory sport rather than competitive sport, you can water down that competitive aspect of it, that we have to win.
Compulsory sport or competitive sport? As Australia looks to improve its gold medal tally at Rio 2016, we'll no doubt be hearing a lot more about the dilemma.